I'm Angela, and this is my house in Mashpee. This is Dizzy. She's the reason I bought this house in Mashpee. And I'm going to show you a tour of the house and hopefully forgoing yard. This is the front of the house. I guess we wanted a little brief show of that. Not too much to write home about. And let's head on over to the back of the yard where the biggest help is needed. When I bought this house 3 years ago, the family that lived here had 2 teenage boys, both of which rode ATVs and motorcycles in the backyard. So there's a lot of leftover tracks, there's a lot of sand, and there's piles of loam and rotted wood that had been moved around in various areas. So, come on back. Come on, dude. Here we go. The first thing we see when we come back through here is straight ahead is the big pile of loam, which I've tried to convert to somewhat of a compost since I do some gardening. But you'll see there's not a heck of a lot going on except from some weeds growing on the yard. And then if you look over to our right and down here, this is the largest sand area. I wish that I had a nice lush grass area to hang out in, but it's mostly weeds and crabgrass and sand. Not very pretty. All right. But the good thing about this space is it is a nice space. It's big and open. There's a lot of room for improvement. And one of the things that I'm hoping for improvement is in this area next to the loam pile is a great place to put a hammock. It's a nice little shady area, stays shady most of the day. So that's one of my little thoughts. Hopefully that would happen. And we'll keep walking down this way. I've made a few small additions to the yard because I do like to garden. So I've made a few garden beds, and so I made these tiny little shade garden beds, and I made one little section for every yard bin here. So there's 3 little sections. And I do have a really great shed. I will say that. This yard is not lacking in a shed. The shed is pretty kick-ass. It's huge. It can fit a riding mower, all of my pots and stuff for gardening. So, but I also think a groundhog's living underneath there. I've got an extra buddy this year. All right, this is my little shade garden. And then over here, also the other thing that was part of this house is the gentleman who lived here was a trucker. So he stored a lot of his 18-wheelers back here. So most of the stuff was storage just for large machinery. So in this area that we're in, you can see there was, it looks like it may have been partially paved. I don't know if it was or not, but there's lots of broken up asphalt on this area. Again, nothing grows here. It's pretty crummy, sandy, asphalty soil. All right, and now the pride of my yard is my little raised beds. I put those in a couple of years ago because I do like to have some fresh veggies and some fresh cut flowers. So that's the pride of my garden, of my yard. And it is, even though it's small, it's where I spend my little happy times in the morning. And then straight ahead is a little bit of a gardens that I put in just for berries. So I have fresh berries and the blueberries the birds eat more than I do, but strawberries and some other brambleberry and some raspberries. So let's walk over towards the deck and we can check that out too. Come on, Days. Slow going today. Come on, Dizzy. Good girl. Oh. One other thing I forgot to point out is Dizzy loves this backyard. And over there in the sandy area, she has made a place that I call Dizzy's bunker. She has dug out a big sand spot, so that's another thing that's part of the little funny about this yard is we've got holes dug in from where the sand is. All right. And I guess the last part of the backyard is the deck. And it's not a bad I'm going to sunbathe, this is where it happens. Because the grass is a little, well, let's say full of bees and ants. And I guess that's it. That concludes everything for the backyard. Maybe we'll do one 360 so you can look at everything again. I hope that you get back in touch with me. I've got fun people to do this with, and it would be a great experience, I think, for everybody. Thanks, everyone! Mention the fire pit.
Oh, not too late.
Should we mention the fire pit?
Sure.
There's a fire pit. Pretty nasty, but it works. And right now I've got a bunch of brush I've got to burn. That's the fire pit. It would be nice to have a better fire element other than that. But hey, I'll take what I can get.